Previously, we dove into the dramatic exploits of Zeus. Today we turn our attention to his brother, Poseidon, the god who's equally as infamous and a little more, let's say, adventurous. Poseidon, the second son of Kronos and Rhea, right between Hades and Zeus, got his cut of the cosmos after the Titanomachy, the divine family feud that toppled the Titans. When it came time to divvy up the territories, Poseidon landed himself a generous 70% of Earth's surface, claiming every river, sea, and ocean. This promotion conveniently sent Titan Okeanos into early retirement. Now, as far as divine bank accounts go, Hades tops the list, while Zeus barely scrapes by. Hades, being the ruler of the underworld, controls all the world's minerals, gold, silver, and real estate. Poseidon, he's got every bit of seafood under his trident. And Zeus, just a bit of storm cloud real estate, a scattering of trees, and a few flocks of birds. Though Poseidon held one of the 12 seats of Olympus, he preferred staying in his own domain, not just lounging around in his palace, but patrolling the world he ruled, or occasionally stalking women. Whenever he had to attend a meeting on Olympus, he'd hop onto his 4-horse chariot and wield his trident, forged by the Cyclops during the Titanomachy, to cut through the waves of the Mediterranean straight to Olympus. This trident wasn't just for parting waves. It could also create rivers, hot springs, and even cause earthquakes, which is why Poseidon was also known as the god of earthquakes. Every time the ground shook, it was a sign that Poseidon was having a mood swing. Poseidon was unpredictable and had a long memory for grudges, which made life tricky for sailors and fishermen. Even after making numerous sacrifices for safe travels, the wrath of Poseidon was a force that treated everyone equally. Worshipper or not, all had a fair chance of being swallowed by the sea. Once, when Zeus had angered the gods, Poseidon, Apollo, and Hera rose against him. They stole his thunderbolts and tied him to his bed. But Briareus, who Zeus had once freed from Tartarus, overheard the plan and untied him. The rebellion failed, and Poseidon and Apollo were punished, forced to work for King Laomedon of Troy for a year. Together, they built an imposing city wall. But when Laomedon's arrogance crossed a line, Poseidon held a grudge against the king's descendants, siding with the Greeks in the Trojan War. But Poseidon didn't top out and help all Greeks. He bore a special grudge against Odysseus, the king of Ithaca, who had blinded one of Poseidon's Cyclops sons. So Poseidon made Odysseus's journey home from the war an epic struggle, a tale we'll cover in another video. Poseidon didn't just clash with mortals. He also got into a classic family feud with his niece Athena over who would sponsor the capital of Attica. To settle the squabble, the Olympian gods set up a little gift competition. The catch? Whichever deity's gift the people of Attica preferred would win the city. Poseidon, in his salty wisdom, created a saltwater spring. Athena, on the other hand, gifted them an olive tree. The Greeks, clearly team olive oil over sea salt, crowned Athena the winner, and so the city was named Athens. Poseidon, nursing his wounded pride, retaliated by sending a few monsters to stir up trouble for the Athenian folk. In yet another tale, Zeus's son Minos, seeking to become the first king of Crete, prayed to Poseidon for a divine sign. Poseidon, known for his creative twists, sent Minos a magnificent bull, one he was supposed to sacrifice right back to Poseidon. But Minos, too enamored with the beast, decided to swap it out with another. Furious, Poseidon enlisted Aphrodite for a little revenge plot, making Queen Pasiphae fall in love with the bull. The result? A minotaur, half man, half bull, named Asterius joined the family tree. Seeing that Poseidon's unpredictable nature was disrupting the natural order, Zeus decided his brother needed a wife. Amphitrite, a Nereid and granddaughter of Okeanos, was chosen as the queen of the sea. Poseidon had been watching Amphitrite for a while, often observing the Nereids bathing, and finally decided to propose. But Amphitrite, scared of this old sea god, ran off to the far reaches of the earth at Atlas. Poseidon enlisted a dolphin to find her, which led to 2 stories, one where the dolphin just tips him off, and another where it catches Amphitrite for him. In gratitude, Poseidon made dolphins stars in the sky when they die, a little promotion for the family. Poseidon and Amphitrite had a son, Triton, though he didn't quite resemble either parent. With a serpent-like lower body, a wide mouth, and fish gills for ears, Triton was an interesting mix. He carried a massive conch shell, which, when blown, could cause storms. Only Triton could blow it, and only by Poseidon's command. Sailors would hurry for cover upon hearing its sound, seeing it as a divine warning of danger. Once, a man named Ne thought he could outblow Triton and challenged him to a duel. He tried his hardest, puffing and blowing, until he was red in the face but failed to match Triton's conch. Exhausted, he finally collapsed and died on the spot. Poseidon's love life was anything but restrained. Take Medusa, for instance, a breathtakingly beautiful priestess of Athena. Poseidon couldn't resist her, chasing Medusa persistently until she sought sanctuary in Athena's temple. But sacred ground or not, Poseidon took what he wanted. Athena, lacking the power to discipline her dear uncle, chose instead to turn Medusa into the iconic monster we now recognize as the face of Versace. Years later, when the hero Perseus struck Medusa down, Chrysaor and Pegasus emerged from her body, children, it's said, of Poseidon himself. And then there was his dalliance with his sister-in-law Demeter, Zeus's consort. Demeter wasn't interested in Poseidon's advances and shape-shifted into a mare to lose him in a herd. But Poseidon, not to be outdone, turned himself into a stallion and joined her little hiding spot, leading to the birth of Desponia and Arion, both remarkably gifted with human-like intelligence. Lastly, we can't overlook Aphrodite, goddess of love and wife to Hephaestus. Despite her marriage, she carried on a scandalous affair with Ares, god of war. Ever the cunning craftsman, Hephaestus ensnared the two in an invisible net, inviting the gods to come and have a laugh at their expense. But Poseidon, ever the sympathetic one, convinced Hephaestus to let them go free, and in a twist of fate, Poseidon and Aphrodite later became parents to 2 children of their own. Gathered around Poseidon was a crew of colorful characters, starting with the ancient sea god Nereus and his daughters the Nereids. Nereus, affectionately dubbed the Old Man of the Sea, was a soft-spoken sage, an oracle who never lied, and was always willing to help anyone in need. His daughters, the Nereids, would rise from the ocean depths, their songs carried by the waves, a constant blessing for sailors on the high seas. Then there was Proteus, another silver-haired sea god with prophetic powers. But unlike Nereus, Proteus was a bit of a handful. To get a prediction out of him, you'd have to surprise him and hold him captive. No easy feat. Enter Glaucus, once a poor fisherman from Boeotia, Greece. One fine day, he hauls in a miraculous catch up only to watch the fish leap back to freedom. Curious, Glaucus chews on some strange seaweed growing nearby. Legend says Cronus himself planted it, and soon finds himself entranced. The sea, suddenly magnetic, calls to him, and down he dives, leaving land behind. Oceanus, Tethys, and the Nereids greet him, purging his mortal limitations and transforming him into an immortal sea god, complete with a fish's tail. Like Nereus and Proteus, Glaucus could now see the future and took great pleasure in guiding sailors through rough waters. Then there's Okeanos, the old god of the seas, revered in his time almost as much as Zeus. Though he handed over the domain of the oceans to Poseidon, his children still reign supreme over every river and stream. That's enough about rivers and streams. We'll wrap up this video here. In the next videos, we'll head up to Olympus to continue with the stories of the 12 gods.